Hi everyone! A blessed morning to all of us. I am RosePearlP Peralta from BSed English 3-1 and I am one of the discussants for today. So for the continuation of the report under the test techniques, we are going to discuss the standards of grading, which are the norm reference testing and criterion reference testing. So, the question is, how can a professional teacher know that his or her students are doing well in class? There are two methods used by teachers to measure and interpret students' performance concerning classroom instructions. In this lesson, you will learn the in-depth difference between norm reference test and criterion reference test. According to Stevens in 1994, norm reference tests are designed to highlight achievement differences between and among students to produce a dependable rank order of students across a continuum of achievement from high achievers to low achievers. Meaning, norm reference test is designed to compare or rank test takers to one another. The scores are equated against the performance results of a statistically selected group of test takers, typically of the same age or grade level. On the other hand, the criterion reference test, from the word itself, criterion, it is the method that measures the student's performance based on some given external criterion or standard competency or mastery. That is why the performance of the student is unrelated to one another, and the student's achievement are recorded for individual skills. Through this test, the teacher will know who among these students met the expectations or the objectives of the curriculum and who did not. So as you can see, these two testing types have different constructions, methods, underlying goals, and methods for interpreting scores. It's a little complicated at first, but the difference between these two grading systems are simple to understand. In college, professors are now using criterion reference tests since they are preparing future professionals. But how it is different from norm reference tests? Again, a norm reference system or testing, as the word says, it's norm, meaning it's the standard of the group. So the basis of the scoring is the group standard, meaning the score of 1% depends on what the whole group will be able to get. In the norm reference test, the standard of the grading system is the group, the norm of the group, okay? The standard of the group or the class characteristics of the group is the basis when we talk about the norm reference testing. Now, when it is a criterion reference in grading system, it is independent of the standards of the group because the standard here is the criteria. We set the given mastery standard, we set the given criteria, we set the given percentage of the scoring in which we can say that this person passed or failed. We also set a level of mastery. So that is what criterion reference is. So for us to get a broad overview about the norm and the criterion reference test, let's look at the illustration in my PowerPoint. So for example, in Class A and Class B. In Class A, the highest score is 88. So it's just an example, okay? Let's say that in Class A, it is the score in English subject, and in Class B, it is the highest score in math or in any other subjects. In Class A, the highest score is again 88, and the norm transmuted will be the basis standard, since 88 is the highest score, but it always depends on the score of the students in the classroom. Because in a norm reference based system, the person with the highest score will of course receive the highest score, meaning it would be the basis or the standard of the class. So again, in Class A, the highest score of 88 will have the 100% if it is the scaling grade. So you will give the scaling score on the higher scorer. Same as in Class B. If 94 is the highest, meaning the highest scorer will receive or get the scaling grade of 100. So let's say for instance, the Turlock West Central Elementary School would be the Class A. Let's assume that the highest graduating student in grade 6 has a grade point average of 88. That student would be the class valedictorian if the norm reference method is utilized. Same as in Class B. For instance, the Santo Cristo Elementary School. The highest average among the students who will graduate has an average of 94. So that student will also be the class valedictorian. It is the way of choosing the valedictorian before, but now it changed as well. Criterion reference is now the basis. So remember, in the norm reference test, whoever comes out on top of the group standards will receive the scaling grade or will receive an award. That is the explanation of the norm transmuted in the illustration. When we say on the criterion reference, we need to identify what is the passing grade. If the passing grade is 50%, then the highest score of 88 will be transmuted in 50% as well, or be transmuted in 50% passing criteria. So we need a computation if the passing would be 50%. If the highest is 88 and we have 100 items, so we are going to have 88 divided by 100 times 50 plus 50 is equals to 94. That is the transmuted score in criterion. Here at 94, 50% is still the passing. So it's just the same computation. 94 divided by 100 times 50 plus 50, we have 97. Alright? So there is still a discrepancy in their scores because of the criteria, but they are equal in the norm reference because they are the two top scorers. So the grading system in elementary and high school is now criterion based, especially when it comes to selecting honors. That is why in some cases, such as when assessing the standard of a valedictorian or students with high honors, the average should be 96 or higher. When nobody gets that standard average, well, there will be no class valedictorian or even high honors. Okay, but if there are 10 students who get the 96 and above standards or average, those 10 students will be rewarded. Same as in cum laude. It would be based on the needed grade for you to be qualified in the standard of being a cum laude. So you need to pass the said criteria. So that is the differences between the norm reference and the criterion reference grading system. Now, for better understanding, I provided some other examples. So first, we must identify if it is a norm reference or criterion reference. Just answer it on your mind. So the score of Jacqueline is compared to the mean score of all the test takers. Is this a norm or criterion reference? Some of you might answer criterion reference, but the answer is norm reference. Why? The keyword here is the mean score. The mean score refers to the average score of the whole class. So meaning if the score of Jacqueline is compared to the mean score of all the test takers, it means that the score of Jacqueline is compared to all the scores of the class. So, the kind of grading system is not criterion, but it is a norm. Why? Where did they compare the grade of Jacqueline? The score of Jacqueline is compared in the class, not in the criteria. Next example, um, Jake passed the competency test in English. When it comes to competency testing, there is always a given criterion. There is always a given standard, meaning it will never be a norm. They did not compare it on the other score but in the given criteria. Competency test is the keyword here in this on the example. Therefore, it is a criterion reference. So again, norm reference and criterion reference testing provide two distinct ways to make inferences about test takers' performance on a specific assessment. Norm reference tests make comparisons between individuals, and criterion reference tests measure a test taker's performance compared to a specific set of standards or criteria. So that ends my report. I hope you learned something. Thank you, keep safe, and God bless everyone. Bye.